Hey guys, it's CALLOUS. Welcome back to my Emerald Open series. We are now in the bracket stages of the challenge, and we had a bye in this round because we went 3-0 in our initial battle pod. So we were going to play against one of these two players. They had to play against each other, and then whoever wins this, we get to play against. It was either going to be Drummer Eruption or Brett, neither of which I'm familiar with, so I have no clue who's a better player or any of that. We were hoping that we played against Brett on the right because we identified a pretty big weakness in his team. Take a look, just look it over, and let me know what you think. I'll give you a couple seconds to think about it. Time's up. If you need more time, pause the video. What did you notice? Something we noticed very quickly is that he has no switch in whatsoever to ground attacks. He doesn't even have a resistance to it. He's got Rhydon and Rapidash and Jolteon that are all weak to it. Roselia, who's neutral to it, and then everybody else is just neutral. So if we had like an offensive Donphan or a CB Donphan, what switches into CB Earthquake exactly? Or if we had Earthquake on Dragonite, DD Dragonite, what switches into Earthquake exactly? We wanted to play against the guy on the right, and indeed, that is who we ended up playing against. Brett defeated Drummer Eruption, so we immediately went to town with that idea. We knew that Earthquake was going to be an issue for him, and that was the core of what we wanted to do. Now, that being said, he does potentially have some threats. Rapidash learns Hypnosis, so something that actually could be interesting against us would be Hypnosis, Flamethrower, HP Ice, Rapidash is actually pretty reasonable against us, so that's a set that could matter. He could bring Trapinch, functioning as a really crappy Dugtrio as a way to beat our Raikou, so that's something that we very much have to keep in mind. Medicham is always a threat, regardless of what team it's on, so we had to be aware of that as well. And then, as we discussed in the draft video, we don't actually have a normal resist, so if you were to go Curse Lax or CB Lax or something to that effect, those hits could really start to hurt because we just don't have a switch. So this is how we try to tackle this matchup against Brett. So we decided to lead Medicham because we wanted to deter the Lax right out the gate because we did not want him to have any more opportunities than were absolutely necessary to start spamming normal attacks, which we don't have a resist for, or to set up the Lax. If he's going the Curse route, we don't really have a great switch for that either. So we needed to immediately prevent that from happening, so we led with Medicham. Just like in the previous match where we were against a Medicham, we went with max speed and Jolly, because if it gets to Cham on Cham, we need to have the absolute best chance to win that matchup. So we have both max speed and Shadow Ball if it comes to a Cham on Cham situation. The Raikou in this case has to have Quick Attack as a precautionary measure against the Trapinch. I drilled it into Jabba's head in the prep, and he was very well aware that he always has to have Trapinch come in on either Substitute or HP Water. If Trapinch switches in either of those situations, or if it comes in when we're already behind a sub, then we will always win that matchup unless he crits us. The way that will always play out is we will we'll get him with HP Water, which won't kill him, and then if we're behind a sub, he would Earthquake and pop the sub, and then we'll just get him. Or, let's say we don't have a sub, so we get him with HP Water when he comes in, but he survives, and now he's threatening, or sorry, we kill something else. I'm not good at explaining this, but the point is, HP Water wouldn't kill him, and then Quick Attack would finish him off after the fact, because he could be EV'd to always survive HP Water, is the gist. So going over here to Milotic, we identified that Ice Beam was really not that exciting of an attacking type against him. It gets the Roselia and not much else. The Rhydon we'd rather just surf, and then everything else either just resists it or is neutral or whatever. So we realized that Ice was not that exciting of an attacking type, so we didn't bother with Ice Beam in this case. We thought that Hypnosis was necessary as an emergency out against Lax, and again, as a way to not let the Lax just free set up on us. The Lax, if it is Curse Rest, is probably one of the biggest threats for us, and we absolutely have to build around that. We have to minimize the opportunities for whatever their biggest threat is, which in this case would be the Lax on the Medicham, from having chances. So the whole team had to be set up with that in mind. The Dragonite has to have Earthquake for the aforementioned reason that we discussed. He has absolutely no switch into Earthquake. So we went Adamant and we went with Max Attack because every time we click Earthquake, we are always going to get value out of it. He has absolutely no switch into it, as you can see. We thought that the T-Wave was probably pretty important to try to slow down the Lax or the Medicham. We thought that Heal Bell could be important if he has, say, Sleep Powder Roselia, Hypnosis Rapidash, T-Wave Starmie, T-Wave Jolteon, whatever. We thought that Bell was going to be relevant, and there were a lot of situations in this matchup where he might try to fling status, T-Wave, whatever at you, and then beat us with Lax and Medicham once he has crippled our team, so we thought Heal Bell was important. And then T-Wave, of course, is going to support our own team. The Dawn fan here is exactly what we talked about. What switches into Choice Band Earthquake? And the answer truly is nothing. He has no switch at all. This is going to do big, big, big damage every single time that it connects. Rapid Spin is there because he does have a Spiker, which is Roselia. He may or may not bring the Roselia, but he does have a Spiker, so we're obligated to bring Spin. And frankly, the other moves are just filler. Sleep Talk is cute in case he, again, Hypnosis or Sleep Powder with the Rapidash or the Roselia respectively. And the Roar is, again, just there as a precautionary measure against the Lax. Let's say that it does get some boost going and then it gets a rest off. We need to be able to Roar it out of the way. We could have gone with Rest on Donphan, which is really effing awkward with Choice Band, but it's actually not the worst thing in the world because of Heal Bell. But again, we thought that these moves are not actually just filler, but actually do have a purpose. Roar as an emergency way to get Lax out of the way, and Sleep Talk, which could have been Rest, arguably, but we really want to keep attacking with Donphan because he really truly does not have an answer for the EQ. And then finally, Regice here. We just gave him a smidge on the speed. Get ahead of, who did we want to get ahead of? Rhydon. We wanted to get ahead of Rhydon. So we wanted to make sure we were faster than that guy who we can threaten quite a bit. And then the rest of it's pretty standard. We've got Rest, which is a nice combo with Heal Bell, functioning as a wall, 252 HP, which I think we did in every single match. Standard set, Bolt Beam, T-Wave is the way that we went into this. And again, the Medicham needs to lead because the two most threatening things on the other side are Lax and are his own Medicham, and those are the Mons that we wanted to cover right out the gate. And here is how that game went. Big Dick Brett. Already don't like him. This town ain't big enough for two big dicks, and mine is enormous. Fuck you, Brett. Switching sides. So he leads Jolt, which is interesting. Probably not a bad idea because it's always going to be faster than anything that we have, assuming you put enough speed into it. So that's going to give him the option on any given turn to always, if there's trouble, just Baton Pass out. If he likes the matchup and you want to stay in and T-Bolt or Sub or T-Wave or Toxic or whatever he wants to do, he has that option as well. Jolteon, I think, is a very safe lead for him. Like I said, can't go too far wrong because even if he hates the matchup, you just Baton Pass away. So I think this lead makes plenty of sense on his end. We get out of the way, which I think is wise, and you see right here, there's T-Wave. Good thing we did that. Had we tried to get cute and attack, Medicham would be paralyzed. Now, granted, is it worth it? Like, if we stay in and we click Focus Punch there, it's actually really good, right? Because as long as you don't full para, you kill the Jolteon, and then in theory, you could just Heal Bell that away later. So I don't mind if Java had stayed in there and just gone for the attack. But like hindsight 2020, right? Do you feel like an idiot if you Focus Punch and the Jolteon just clicks Thunderbolt, for example? If you Brick Break, that's not bad. But Brick Break in exchange for power is not a great trade, and you do not kill the Jolteon with Brick Break either. So the only way where that's decent is if you're definitely going to get a Heal Bell off later, which I don't think is guaranteed by any means. So obviously, in hindsight, if we knew that he was just going to T-Wave, Focus Punch would have been the play. But I think that this was the right play. Nice, safe switch to Regice. No matter what he does, T-Bolt, T-Wave, Toxic, whatever, we're going to be fine. So he switches to Lax at this point, and we're going to go straight for Ice Beam. Notice right away, and I get why our opponent did this, but I don't personally agree with it. Notice right away that the Lax does not have leftovers. It could be like Rest Chesto or whatever, but what I think he should have done is gone Curse Rest. I think that would have been the most threatening set. But as we're about to discover, he actually opted for a choice ban. And like I said, I don't think it's blatantly bad. I understand why he did this. We don't have a normal resist, so he just wanted to punish that as much as possible. He wanted to just click whatever, click return, click body slam, and he knows that we don't have a good switch in for that. But I don't think going blow for blow with us is necessarily the best idea, because the Lax itself is slow and we have stuff that hits pretty hard, and I don't know, I think it almost lets us off the hook a little bit. Like, he will do damage without a doubt with his CB normal attacks a couple times, but we can hit it pretty hard back too. And I don't know, it feels like inevitably we will kill this, even if it does some damage first. Whereas Curse Rest Lax has a chance to potentially actually beat us. So I don't know that I love this decision, but I at least understand why it was made. So that being said, here's Milo, and this return hurts. 56%, pretty big. Jabba's going to respond with Dawn Fan here, which, being CB, is obviously not bulky, but we know that every time this comes in, we're going to claim. So Roselia down. Bam. Flamethrower here. Like I said, the threatening set for Rapidash would have been Hypnosis, Flamethrower, HP Ice. Not clear if he has that, because the Earthquake insta-kills him. He's not thrilled with the Hypnosis miss, but like 60-40, dude, it's got to happen. But yeah, it could have been different for sure had he connected with that. It absolutely would have changed the game. Let's acknowledge that. So us hitting the Medicham with the T-Wave there is pretty big. It turns out he's actually double spamming CB normal attacks. Don't know that, I get why. He looked at our team and identified that we don't have a normal resist, so I get why he did this, but I don't know that I agree with it. I don't know that it was the optimal strategy. It feels like a lazy strategy. I think his better plan would have been to para stuff, sleep stuff, and then get us with hard hitters. Substitute Medicham, Curse Rest Lax, whatever the case may be. But he's opted for blow, and as you can see, it's just not working. Donphan is going to always kill something when it comes in, and I think we can just out-attrition him. I think even if we didn't have Dragonite, Medicham, and Raikou in the back, I think we would win with Regice alone here. It has felt many times throughout the run, and this is no exception, that we run into teams that just don't have enough things to kill Regice. And like I said, I think Regice could win on its own here. It can just beat the Jolteon and the Starmie on its own. They will never, ever kill it. It's the man. There's Starmie. We're going to speed this up, guys. There's nothing else to narrate. This is not the most exciting game in the run. The Regice is just something he can't handle once certain mons go down. This one kind of a stomp. T-Wave. Give yourself a fighting chance, Brett. Oh, full para. It's not over. It's not over. It's over. Like I said, this one kind of a stomp. I don't necessarily agree with the way that the opponent built the team. The one turn with the Hypnosis on the D-Knight with the Rapidash very well may have changed things if it landed. I don't know. I still think we probably would have been fine, but it's obviously way better for him if he sleeps us there rather than just losing the Rapidash for free. But Hypnosis is obviously by nature an unreliable move. 60-40, it's going to miss a lot of the time. this is one of those times. Jabba's going to take this down in the round of 64, and we are going to move along to the round of 32 coming up in the next video. But if you've been enjoying the content, please do hit the like button.